Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Thursday, April 4th, 2024. This is my 2000th podcast, so exciting. And we'll get more into that at the end of the show. So, NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, the NIT Final, soccer, Survivor, news and notes, and at the end we're going to talk some memories over the past several years on the show. All right, we'll start the NBA. We will go over the results from yesterday, which was busy, and look ahead to tonight's games. Blazers over the Hornets 89-86. Lakers over the Wizards 125-120. Hawks over the Pistons 121-113. Celtics over the Thunder 135-100. Nets over the Pacers 115-111. Grizzlies over the Bucks 111-101. Timberwolves over the Raptors 133-85. Magic over the Pelicans 117-108. And the Suns over the Cavs 122-101. 7:30 on TNT, you have the Kings against the Knicks. On TNT, I have Kings by 1, but the Knicks are the team that has the minus by their name. Should they have the minus by the name? Arguably not, because of OG and Randall still being injured. And it is 3.5 and 215.5. I'll take Sacramento getting the points, and I'm willing to take the plus 130. The Knicks have lost 3 straight. I know I believe and do, but I'm going to take the Kings against the spread. Sixers Heat. My line is the Heat by 3/4, and it's 3 and 209.5. I'll take Philly getting the points. Hawks Mavs. My line is the Mavs by 7 3/4, and it's 11.5 and 229.5. I'll take the Hawks getting the points. 8 o'clock, you have the Warriors at the Rockets. My line is the Rockets by 1.5, and it's Golden State by 4. Total 226.5. I'll take the Rockets getting the 4. A lot of dogs today, which is fun. And at 10 o'clock on TNT, the Nuggets against the Clippers should be fun. Mine's Nuggets 3 3/4, and it's 4 and 218. I really like the over in that game. Now move on to the NHL. We will recap yesterday. Look ahead to tonight. Rangers over the Devils 4-3. Lightning over the Leafs 4-1. Stars over the Oilers 5-0. Kings over the Kraken 5-2. Canucks over the Coyotes 2-1. Nice slate tonight. 9 games. 7 o'clock, Lightning Habs. Lightning minus 176. Habs plus 146. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 05. Unders minus 115. Lightning minus 1.5 is plus 134. Habs plus 1.5 is minus 162. Second of the back-to-back. I don't know if I'm willing to lay the puck line with the Bolts or not. I'm going to go with the under instead. Panthers Senators. Panthers minus 154 cents plus 128. Over under 6.5. Overs even money. Unders minus 122. Panthers minus 1.5 is plus 150 cents. Plus 1.5 is minus 182. I'm going to lay the puck line with the Panthers. Penguins Capitals. Pens minus 114. Caps minus 105. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 140. Unders plus 114. Pens plus 1.5 is minus 280. Caps minus 1.5 is plus 225. Someone explained to me why the Penguins are favored. It's funny because they're low-key still in the mix for the last playoffs up there. They passed the Devils. They passed the Sabres. They're 3 back of Washington for the second wild card. Washington and Detroit. And they're 4 back of Philly. This is the biggest game of the Penguin season. If they don't win this game, they're done. I'm taking the Capitals because I think it's too good to be true for Pittsburgh. Bruins Hurricanes on. I almost said I thought it was ESPN Plus and Hulu, but I guess not. This is game of the night, too. Canes minus 152, Bruins plus 126, over under 5.5, minus 110 Bruins plus 1.5 is minus 200. Canes minus 1.5 is plus 164. I like the over in that game. I think that total's low. Islanders, Blue Jackets. Isles minus 92, Columbus plus 158, over under 6.5, overs plus 110, unders minus 134. Isles minus 1.5 is plus 128, Columbus plus 1.5 is minus 154. I'm going to lay the Islanders puck line. This is ESPN Plus and Hulu. 8 o'clock, Blues Predators. Preds minus 194, Blues plus 158, over under 5.5, overs minus 130, unders plus 106. Blues plus 1.5 is minus 156, Preds minus 1.5 is plus 130. I like the under at plus money, just as the Juicy Soros under. Avalanche Wild. Avs minus 162, Wild plus 134, over under 6.5, overs even money, unders minus 122. Avs minus 1.5 is plus 146, Wild plus 1.5 is minus 178. Let's go over Avs goals 3.5 at even money. Flames Jets. Jets minus 15, Flames plus 176, over under 5.5, overs even money, unders minus overs minus 122, unders even money. Flames plus 1.5 is minus 146, Jets minus 1.5 is plus 122. I'm going to go under even money. Last but not least, 10:30, Kings Sharks. Kings minus 330, Sharks plus 260, over under 5.5, overs minus 128, unders plus 104. Kings minus 1.5 is minus 132, Sharks plus 1.5 is plus 102. This is a tough one. But I'm going to actually go over 2.5 Sharks goals at plus 142 as like a bold pick. All right, now move on to baseball. We will hit on the games from last night with the results, and we'll get to, I think it's a small window today. O's over the Royals 4-3. Angels over the Marlins 10-2. Twins over the Brewers 7-3. Rangers over the Rays 4-1. Braves White Sox postponed, make up June 27th. Red Sox over the A's 1-0. Yankees over the Diamondbacks 6-5 and 11. Reds over the Phillies 4-1. Guardians over the Mariners 8-0. Padres over the Cardinals 3-2. Nats over the Pirates 5-3. Tigers Mets postponed, makeup will be today. They're having a scheduled doubleheader. Cubs over the Rockies 9-8. Astros over the Blue Jays 8-0. And the Dodgers over the Giants 5-4. Yeah, only 6 baseball games today. How do you like that? All right, at noon, doubleheader game 1, Tigers Mets from City. Looks like they're going to squeeze it in because weather's looking good right now. I know there's a lot of flooding in the New York area, but it's not raining right now, so they should get the game in. Mets are minus 130, Tigers plus 110, over under 7.5, overs minus 102, unders minus 120. Tigers plus 1.5 is minus 192, Mets minus 1.5 is plus 158. We go with the over. Second game, we don't know who is pitching in it, but the Mets are minus 120, the Tigers are plus 102, over under 7.5, overs minus 105, unders minus 115. Tigers plus 1.5 is minus 215, Mets minus 1.5 is plus 176. 2 games, 2 overs. 4 o'clock, Pirates Nationals. So the Pirates finally lost a game. Martin Perez and Josiah Gray. Pirates minus 130, Nats plus 110, over under 8.5. Overs even money, unders even. Overs minus 122, unders even money. Pirates minus 1.5 is plus 122, Nats plus 1.5 is minus 146. I'm going under 8.5 at even money. Guardians Twins. Tanner Bibay and Pablo Lopez. Twins minus 144, Guardians plus 122, over under 7.5, overs even money, unders minus 122. Guardians plus 1.5 is minus 166, Twins minus 1.5 is plus 138. Very big series early in the year. For this one, I'm going to go under 3.5 Twins runs. Plus 108. 4:15 Marlins Cardinals. Ryan Weathers and Lance Lynn. Marlins still looking for their first win. Cardinals minus 148. Marlins plus 126. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 102. Unders minus 120. Marlins plus 1.5 is minus 166. Cardinals minus 1.5 is plus 138. I'm going to go with the over. And last but not least, 7:30 White Sox Royals. Michael Soroka and Seth Lugo. Royals minus 164. White Sox plus 138. Over under 8. Overs minus 115. Unders minus 105. White Sox plus 1.5 is minus 156. Royals minus 1.5 is plus 130. I like the under in this game a lot. All right, the NIT final is tonight. From Hinkle Fieldhouse, Seton Hall, Indiana State. My projected lines. Indiana State by 4.5. Total 150 and 4/5. And Indiana State's giving 2.5. Total is 159.5. I like the under. That is way too high of a total. I think there's going to be a lot of offense, but I just think that number's too high. In a championship game, I think guys are going to try on defense. So, the play here is the under. And I would lay it with Indiana State, too. They're a better team. Or they're playing better. And they have a little bit of a home court playing at Hinkle. So, love the under. That's going to be the pick I'm giving out. But I'm going to say the Sycamores beat the Pirates. Okay, now move on to soccer. We will touch on the results from yesterday and look ahead to soccer for today. All right. We'll start with the Premier League. Arsenal over Luton, 2-0. Brentford Brighton, 0-0 draw. Man City over Aston Villa, 4-1. All right, 2 games today. 2:30 of Liverpool and Sheffield United. Liverpool's minus 1400. Sheffield's 26-1. The draw's 14-1. So for this one, I'm going to go with a bold call of over 4.5 goals at plus 106. 3:15, Chelsea, Man United. Chelsea's minus 120, Man United's plus 270, the draw's plus 320. I'm going to go with the draw here at plus 320. Dutch Eredivisie. Heracles over AZ Alkmaar 5-0. FC Utrecht over PEC Zwolle 5-1. Heerenveen FC 23-3 draw. 12:45. You have FC Volendam and Feyenoord. Just have to pull up Eredivisie. Feyenoord's minus 1250. Volendam is 16-1. The draw's plus 950. Under 3.5 goals plus 116. 2 o'clock. RKC Waldwick and Elmeri City. And why is that game not listed here? But I'm going to go with the draw on that one. And at 3 o'clock, Ajax, go ahead Eagles. Ajax minus 20. The go-ahead Eagles are plus 470. The draws plus 360. This is another tough one. I'm going to go with the draw at plus 360. We have a La Liga game today, 2 o'clock, Granada and Valencia. Granada's 2-1. Valencia's plus 150, and the draw's also 2-1. Granada's lost 4 straight. They are probably heading for relegation. And Valencia's in 8th. Valencia's the pick, plus 150. And then the expansion we have today. So results from yesterday. Mineros de Z and Celaya 2-2 draw, and Venados over Cancun 2-0. All right, 9 o'clock tonight is Morelia and U to G. I'm going to see if they have this league up as well. I don't see it, but you never know. If I find it, I'll give out the picks. No, I do not see it. And then 11 o'clock tonight is to Padalon and Tlaxcala. I'm going to say UDG and a draw for expansion. And I think there's also U.S. Open from yesterday for soccer, so I want to touch on that very quickly. And then CONCACAF Champions Cup. Monterrey beat Miami 2-1, so Messi lost. And then Pachuca beat Herediano 5-0. Coppa Italia, Fiorentina over Atalanta 1-0. The German DFB Pokal, Bayer Leverkusen over Fortuna 4-0. Coupe de France, PSG over Rennes 1-0. And then the Open Cup, Miami United over Club de Lyon 2-0. Greenville over Knoxville 3-2. South Georgia over Savannah 4-0. Carolina over Vermont 2-1. Chattanooga over Apathos 1-0. Chicago Fire 2 over Forward Madison 2-0. Union Omaha over Des Moines 3-1. Northern Colorado over Rapids 3-2. Spokane over LA Force 1-0. And Irvine Zeta over Ventura County 3-0. And I'm quickly going to look if there's any today. No U.S. Open today. So, that's it for soccer. Now move on to this last night's episode of Survivor. It was good. They dropped the Buffs yesterday, like we thought they would. So day 12 rolls around, and everybody got the note that the individual phase of the game was to commence. And then Hunter found the Nami idol before Siga and Yanu were brought in. And then Yanu realized that they were in the middle Sega targeted Venus, and then Nami targeted Mariah. And then divided into groups of 6 by random draw, with one odd member waging their safety on the outcome of the challenge. This kind of is like a wager, though. That everybody raced under a muddied cargo net to a cart, which they maneuvered over the obstacles and getting sandbags along the way, which they piled to access a tall platform. And then one member untied a bag of keys, which they used after descending a rope net and scaling a large boulder to unlock chests full of puzzle pieces and complete the puzzle. And it was a circular one. And the first team to finish won immunity, the merged tribe buffs, and a merged feast. And the losing team would be vulnerable at tribal council. So the team of Ben, Hunter, Kenzie, Q, Tevin, and Tim won the challenge. How about that? All boys, and then Kenzie. And then Tiffany also won due to drawing the odd rock and correctly predicting them to win. And then the other team was Charlie, Mariah, Liz, Venus, I'm blanking, Maria, and I'm blanking on that girl's name. Soda. And then obviously the boys and Kenzie won. Tiffany also won. And then they're all discussing strategy and such. And then the Yano 3 correctly deduced that Sega was the tighter tribe and hoped to break that alliance up. And at Tribal, Mariah disclosed that she was on the bottom of the Sega vote, which led to everyone to distrust her, since she had earlier said that the vote was unanimous. She played her shot in the dark, which failed, and only Charlie voted Venus, while everyone else voted out Mariah. Wow. And then Hunter didn't have a vote, obviously, because they lost the advantage. So everyone, even on Sega, voted out Mariah. So, second week in a row where I correctly predicted who got voted out of Survivor. So, best move of the episode. This is a good one. But I am going to say the best move of this episode was let's go with Yanu realizing that they have a big say in the game, considering they're the in the middle and could really dictate the game. Worst move of the episode, probably Mariah saying that she was on the bottom of the SIGA vote. That pretty much did her in. Not that she someone else would be voted out anyway, but I think it certainly triggered the vote more in against her. Best moment. This is a good one. Best moment of this episode. There's nothing that really jumped out and says, "Oh, that's awesome." But there's some good ones, for sure. But I gotta say, I really, this has to be up there for best move, but, Hunter finding the Nami idol. I think that is huge in the game. So, I'm actually gonna say that best move was, Hunter finding the Nami idol. And favorite moment, I love when they drop the buffs and everybody gets to know each other and wants the tea from the other tribes. That's always fun. So I'm going to say that's my favorite moment. There was no bad moments. All right, winner pick. I'm going to stick with Hunter for another week. But I would also think that Maria has an excellent chance. And obviously Hunter now has that idol, which is humongous. Him losing his vote, I don't think mattered, because I think he would have voted Mariah anyway. So I'm still going to say Hunter. Next out. There's going to be 2 out next week. I'm going to say the 2 that will be voted out. I hate to say this because I love this player. I think Tevin gets blindsided potentially. And the other one, I'm tempted to say Q. But I think Q stays another week. And let's pick a female. I'm going to say Kenzie. But that's based off the preview for next week's episode. But I don't feel strong about it. And then individual immunities. Maybe 2 of those as well. I'm going to say Q and Tiffany will be your first immunity winners. All right, now I'll move on to the news and notes for today. Coming down from Andrew Marchand, Andrew Siciliano, Melissa Stark, James Palmer, and Will Selva are all out as NFL Network continues its trimming. So that's not great news for that network. How about this? UConn's flight got delayed until 11:30 last night after the plane had mechanical issues. So that's not great for UConn. All right, so USC is eyeing Arkansas coach Eric Musselman for their vacancy. I think that would be a tremendous hire if they were able to steal him from Arkansas. Sky Clark transfers to UCLA. So that's a big get for UCLA. Kansas State lands Doug McDaniel from Michigan. Christian Reeves is in the portal. How about this? An NBA scout says that Rutgers commit Ace Bailey has more upside than Cooper Flagg. I am astounded that somebody said that. Cooper Flagg is supposed to be a generational player. Not in the sense of Victor Wembanyama, but maybe a notch below that. But Cooper Flagg does have a ton of potential. Angel Reese is going to the WNBA draft. Devin Carter declares for the NBA draft. There was a big trade yesterday in the NFL as Stephon Diggs gets traded from the Bills to the Texans, as the Bills will get a 2025 second-round pick via the Vikings. I think this is a really good trade by the Texans. They finally get that WR1 that has experience, has played in a lot of big games. He made the big catch in the Minneapolis Miracle game several years ago. He had some issues with Josh Allen, and that's why I'm not completely stunned that this trade happened. I love this for C.J. Stroud. I think the Texans have to be considered a Super Bowl contender with this trade. And now for the Bills, what's next? I'm going to say that drafting a wide receiver is certainly on the table for them after trading away Diggs, and now with that spot open, and obviously they got rid of Gabe Davis as well. And then how about this? The Bills are taking $31 million dead cap hit. That's a record amount for a non-quarterback after the Diggs trade. The Raiders are hosting Michael Penix Jr., so that's interesting. Joe Mixon says that Stephon Diggs got what he asked for on Instagram. And then Trevon Diggs couldn't believe the trade. Marcus Mariota to wear number 0, the first NFL quarterback to ever do it. So that's interesting. Eric Johnson, who's the mayor of Dallas, wants the Chiefs, as he wants the champs in Dallas after Arrowhead Stadium renovation was denied by voters. Huh. Good luck getting him out of Kansas City. And then Stephon Diggs obviously had a goodbye post on Instagram. Steve Clifford is stepping down at the end of the season as he's moving into a front office role with the franchise at the end of the year. So we'll see who they hire to replace Clifford, and where in the front office Clifford will end up in Charlotte. So there was a hard foul on Zion's knee after a collision with Gary Harris. That didn't look pretty. The Celtics clinch home court advantage in the playoffs. So the Celtics could just tank the rest of the way and rest their guys before the playoffs. But they're not going to do that because of... I'm not going to say they shouldn't rest their guys, but I don't think they will because of the rust factor. there was a brawl 2 seconds into the game between the Rangers and the Devils, and 8 players got ejected. This was very reminiscent of a brawl that kicked off a Rangers-Devils game back in 2012 on a Wednesday night. So, ironic symmetry there. And there's another ejection in the NBA. Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, and Dyson Daniels all got tossed with 7 seconds left against the Magic. John Tortorella had a viral presser. That's not surprising. You could check out what he said. Some baseball stuff. Scott Boras is targeting a record contract for Juan Soto this offseason, as that deal could reach $500 million. That doesn't shock me. It's so weird that all this stuff's coming out and the baseball season's a week old. The Padres are looking at Luis Arraez and Jesus Luzardo. People are already talking about trades. I feel like Major League Baseball has kind of become the NBA in that regard. Like, come on. Like, it's too early to start talking about trades. I mean, I think the time to start talking about trades is probably June. Because the reason why we're talking about this is because the Marlins are 0-7. Steve Cohen says that money doesn't buy wins, as he reflects on building through free agency. And he's right. And then college football is talking about a super league, and it was proposed as sports executives, college presidents are discussing 80-school format to pay players and increase revenue. So, there you have it for the news and notes. Now I'm going to reflect on it being a milestone show today, 2000. It's been a great ride. I'm proud of the work I've done. All the fun guests, all of the fun activities. And this is a lot of fun. It's always fun to look back on predictions I've made and what I've gotten right and what I've gotten wrong over the years. And the memories of things my guests have said on the show and see if they are correct with some takes or not. Next time I'm going to have a guest on, maybe next week. We'll get back into that a little bit with the NBA, NHL playoffs coming up a little bit. So let's reminisce a little bit. Some hits that I've gotten right on the podcast over the past several years. Let's just do in between when I did 1,000 to 2,000, because I did the same thing on my 1,000th podcast and reminisced. So, correctly predicting Ian Tongi as the Idol winner last year was really fun. I knew he had it in him. And he was outstanding. His performance of Sound of Silence in the Showstopper round last year by Disturbed was one of the best Showstopper performances I ever saw. And I remember he hit it out of the ballpark, and I was just like, he's going to win it. And he ended up winning it. I never nailed a Survivor winner from the get-go, which is unfortunate. Masked Singer, I've nailed a bunch of winners over the years, but didn't nail the person. I nailed the character, but not the contestant, the person's identity, if that makes any sense. So the last time I nailed a Masked Singer guess, in terms of I got that one off the bat. Season 8. I nailed Ray Parker Jr. as Sir Bugaboo. And I remember thinking that could have been like Jimmy Kimmel or one of those late night guys. But it ended up being Ray Parker Jr. And I remember I nailed that one because I thought of it on the spot and then I got it. So that was a big one that I got right in terms of contestants. I nailed a lot of stuff on We Are Family this year. I still haven't even watched the part 2 of the season finale of that show. I got in a couple episodes where I nailed everybody. I guessed Andy Grammer correct. I got JoJo Siwa correct in the first episode, and Cam Newton. Or it was the second episode. My mistake. But yeah, I nailed a couple of these. So, something else I correctly predicted was when it was announced Ryan Seacrest was leaving live with Kelly's show. I kind of thought before I read who it was going to end up being, I was thinking I hope it's Mark Consuelos. I think it's going to finally be Mark Consuelos, and it turned out to be Mark Consuelos. Ryan going the Wheel of Fortune, though, our starting Wheel of Fortune this year was not something I predicted, but it was predictable. Sports predictions, right. In terms of like hit or miss prospects, in terms of any of the sports, the quarterbacks is where it's interesting. I look like I am going to be right about CJ Stroud, but wrong about Bryce Young. I thought both those guys were going to be good. But Bryce Young could flip, obviously. I mean, Trevor Lawrence really hasn't lived up to expectations in terms of the next Peyton Manning, but he's still solid. My Joe Burrow over Justin Herbert take proved to be true. In terms of teams, I don't know if it's going to be correct or not, but I may have whiffed on predicting that the Lakers were going to win the title this year before the year. I whiffed on the Yankees last year, obviously. I thought they were going to be a wild card last year, but they ended up missing the postseason. Thinking the Padres were going to be good last year, that was a big whiff. Nailing that Orioles 17-1 to win the AL East last year was a great podcast memory. Also nailing Joel Embiid at plus 850 for MVP when Nikola Jokic was a big favorite last year was a big podcast hit. I almost nailed 80-1 Emmanuel Quickley for Sixth Man of the Year 2 years ago. Or was that last year? I don't remember. Yeah, it was last year, but that was not meant to be as Malcolm Brogdon got that. Big surprises. Jalen Brunson becoming as good as he has was something I wasn't expecting for the Knicks. Something else I wasn't expecting was the Orlando Magic and Oklahoma City Thunder arriving in exceeding expectations and thriving the way they have been this year. The Vancouver Canucks have exceeded expectations this year. That's been a major surprise. A big whiff was me thinking that the New Jersey Devils were going to be a Stanley Cup contender this year. That was a huge whiff. A huge whiff. And I think me and James Selliston, when I had him on the podcast last, I don't know if it was this past time or even 2 times ago, when I did hot takes, yes or no, I think I said the Devils may miss the playoffs. And I thought that was premature at the time. Obviously, it was the right take. So yeah, the New Jersey Devils' demise from last year to this year was not something I predicted. And on the flip side, the New York Rangers being as good as they are was something that I did not see coming. I thought that before the year, I thought there was a chance that the Rangers were going to have a season like the Yankees last year, but that turned out to be an incorrect take, and the Rangers might win a President's Trophy this year. We'll see. Something that I whiffed on was the New York Football Giants not being as good as they were the year prior. I thought the Giants were going to potentially exceed expectations and win 9 or 10 games again, but that was not meant to be, obviously. Daniel Jones, obviously, wasn't good and tore his ACL. And who knows about Brian Daboll, whether we're just giving him credit based on that one season. But like I said, we'll see. I hope that's not the case, because I like Brian Daboll. But the reason he's going to be a hot seat coach next year is because Bill Belichick is on the market. Oh, that's another thing I didn't see coming. The demise of Bill Belichick with the Patriots. That was another podcast unexpected plot twist. We covered that a lot on the podcast, and it's just crazy that Bill's no longer in New England. I mean, you knew it was going to come someday, but you didn't think it was going to end the way it did. But nothing ever ends well. We know that. Coach K retiring from Duke happened between 1000 and now. And then hiring John Shire. Jim Boeheim retired. Roy Williams. And then Hubert Davis in Carolina making the national title game in year 1 under Hubert Davis. That's something we didn't see coming. And then the next year they go and miss the tournament. St. Peter's from my home state of New Jersey making the Elite Eight. a couple years ago was a big surprise. Which was a lot of fun to cover and talk about. Rick Pitino back at St. John's, or back at the Garden and at St. John's, which is fun to talk about when it happened. The Kenny Payne error at Louisville. That's something we touched on a lot in college basketball. And now they hired Pat Kelsey. We'll see how that works out. But yeah, there's a lot of things that have happened since my 1000th podcast. Tom Brady retired. That was another thing we had to cover for weeks and weeks. And that whole speculation game. How about the future? Let's look ahead to the future. What could happen between now and 3,000? If I make it to 3,000 podcasts, I mean, would love it if we kept this program going for that long, but you never know where life could take you, obviously. I mean, Alex Ovechkin's looking for Wayne Gretzky's record, so that's something that we could look for in the future. Also, where will Bill Belichick end up? Will Tom Brady finally join Fox? What new shows and such are going to be a thing in the future? Will The Masked Singer still be on? Will Nicole Scherzinger return to The Masked Singer? Well, that's another thing we didn't talk about and reflecting a little bit. Rita Ora replacing Nicole Scherzinger on The Masked Singer. Where will Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's relationship be? And that's something else big that happened. Obviously. We also would like to see what happens with LeBron James. Does he retire? Does he leave the Lakers? Big stars that could get traded between now and the next couple years. I mean, this could be in any sport. Luis Araz, who we talked about earlier. It's easier to predict this in the NBA rather than in the other sports. Paul George, I could see being traded. I could see Julius Randle being traded. Joel Embiid if the Sixers have a bad playoffs, or Giannis if the Doc Rivers Bucks thing falls apart. Luka. Hockey, I could see John Tavares being traded, or Mitch Marner, because no way the Maple Leafs are keeping all those expensive guys together. No way. Other potential star trades in baseball, I mean, will Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt still be on the Cardinals in a couple years? I know Paul Goldschmidt's a free agent, but they could extend him. What happens with, where's Juan Soto going to be in a year? Hopefully still in pinstripes. Better still be in pinstripes. Trying to think of any other potential trade or free agent guys. Will the Padres keep all those guys together? Will Alexander Bogart still be on the Padres in 2 years? Will Manny Machado still be on the Padres? Of the Orioles' young core, will that young core stay together? Because you can't pay everybody. That's just reality. Football, Arch Manning. What's going to happen with him? will there be any like more star quarterbacks move like Kirk Cousins did? I mean, Dak Prescott is the one that could move. That's the one to watch. Will any expensive quarterbacks get cut like Russell Wilson? Probably Daniel Jones, probably Geno Smith. So that's something to watch. Will DeAndre Hopkins play down the road? I mean, that's somebody I could see being on a different team. What did the Dolphins do with their core? The Bills pretty much broke up their whole team. And they're not going to be as good, obviously. What's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers? With the Jets? Or does he retire soon? So there's so many future subplots to talk about in terms of the future of this podcast and what could be talked about. I'm going to try to get some newer guests on the podcast. So that's another hopeful for down the road. So just keep an eye on that as well. So yeah, 2,000, huge number, big accomplishment. Very proud of that. And hopefully we could get to 3,000 someday. And that's it for the show. And happy 2000 to me. See you all tomorrow.